That's the wrong screen. I went to Maine because, I don't know, my brain thought that was where I needed to go. But hello, everyone! Why am I so tall today? I need to sit my butt down. 1 second. There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Brady Rose Midline, the Forbidden Library. And why has nobody used the new chat command yet? I made it for you. Use it. Someone, please use it. There's Native Gamer, Normal Size Phantom, Rahel. You guys could use it. I dare you. I dare you to summon the angry cat right now. Do it. I forgot my intro because I got too excited about that. I guess I'll go back to that. But hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Brady Rose Midline, the Forbidden Library, and today... Yay! You summoned him! Was he not glorious? He went very fast. I probably should slow him down a little bit, but he goes fast. He's like Sonic. Thank you. Thank you for using him. I worked hard on him. Today is a reading day, and I'm not used to using YouTube chat commands. It's the same as Twitch ones. Just exclamation mark, summon angry cat member, and you'll get him. Yeah. We made him partly during a Patreon stream, and we joked about having him as a chat command, and here he is. But hello, everyone! You guys have chatted a lot, so I've got to scroll through chat to make sure I don't miss any one of my hellos. Hello, Aiden! Hello, Nimby! Hello, the Native Gamer! Hello, Rahel! Hello, Normal Size Phantom! Hello, Rare Candy Guy. I don't know if you're in the chats. Yes, you don't have access to the chat commands yet. Now you have access to the chat commands. Yay! But first, before anything else, it is our Sunday tradition of updating my spreadsheet. I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. Kitty! Come on. I love this. I choose Angry Cat. You should all summon the Angry Cat. It's wonderful. It just flies across the screen. It makes a meow noise. It makes me unreasonably happy. Time to, I don't know, spread them sheets sounds a wee lewd. But let me tell you about the things I've read this week. Bridie likes angry cats, confirmed. I believe this was, Chase? It was either Chase or Kevlar. It was their suggestion during the Patreon stream. Hello, maiden, welcome. I need to check Webtoon as well. I forgot to check Webtoon while I was sorting out the angry cat. But like I said, the angry cat works on all screens, so you can do it during the coming soon screen, you can do it during BRBs and goodbyes, so you can summon the angry cat whenever you feel you need to. Why? I don't know. So, have I read enough? I haven't read enough Teenage Mercenary this week to add any more, so you gotta go, Aiden, that's okay, you got life, you do what you want to do. You have a good time, thank you for popping in. Have a wonderful time. Briny reading day. Time to boot up Skyrim. Yes, I will be your podcast during Skyrim. So 241. DC X Sonic the Hedgehog. Official crossover. You missed all the streams. It's okay. I'm not going anywhere. You catch me as you can catch me, and I will be here. And then there's VODs. It's okay. You should play a horror game so we can summon Angry Cat and jump scare you when we choose. Oh, that sounds awful. Sounds like a bad time. But something. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Comic. It is by someone called Flynn. Hi, local idiot. Welcome. Idiot / nothing. Thomas and Herms. It is a comic. Wait, no. Why did I put game? Series, technically. How do you become a member? You gotta pay months. $242. Hello, MixJ, welcome. I also read a comic called The Seasons, which was really funny. I'll have to show you the covers for these because I picked it up based on the second cover of this book because the first cover's really creepy and then the second cover's really pretty. And I picked up the second cover, I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then the first one was behind it and I was like, what is that? The start of it is really cool as well. It talks about Neo Cairo and the whole city's gone quiet. This weird carnival went into the city and then no one heard anything from anyone in that city for forever. Just no one. It had gone completely quiet. Flights that were going in weren't hearing anything from traffic control. Flights weren't leaving anymore. Anyone who went into the city never left again. It was a dead zone. And then it has a bit of a kooky start where the main character's just like running after a letter the whole time. It's really cool. It has been so far. It is by Rick Remender, Paul Azketa. That's only one Z, not two Z's, and I spelled Paul wrong. Yes, on Sundays I bring out the 3D model with the hand tracking because then I can gesticulate as I talk. If only because when you're playing a game, you don't really get to use your hands much, but when I'm reading, I can just do what I want and move as much as I want, so I get the extra tracking out for the reading because I think it adds to things. Matthews Lopez. That's a long one. But this is a series, and we read it in 2025. So that's gonna be issue 1, because I also bought and read issue 2. Happy Mother's Day! Yep, Happy Mother's Day! I know it's not Mother's Day everywhere in the world, but it is in the UK today. I hope you said anyone in the UK has gone to see your mothers and told them how much you love them. I appreciate the Happy Mother's Day from you, Maiden. I already saw the one on Discord though, so you're good. Okay, gonna go feed a dog and take her for a walk and take a nap. Have a nice nap, nobody. Not nobody, nothing, sorry. Like I said, it's got nobody vibes. I want to try something from Snafu Comics, like Grim Tales and Grim Maidens. That's true, you live with your mum. I had to do the rounds today. We have to go see my mum, we have to go see the fiance's mum, we have to go see 2 mums. I read, this is another one, this is a She's My Night, yeah! Volume 2, which is the last volume. This is only a 2-volume manga, where it's basically a shoujo romance, but the flip. Yep, it's Mother's Day in the UK today. Apparently that it's not an international holiday. Other countries have it at different times, weirdly. The Adventures of Grim and Mandy. Oh, yeah. Comic. Well, no, this one's a manga. And this one's by Caesar. Series complete. 2025. And last but not least, we read another one from, yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, but. We read another one in, Wonder Stop. I read another book in Wonder Stop, and this one was called Chasing Bullets. History and critical theory of the Dirk Warhard novels. It was very good. So this is in-game media from one to stop. It's technically it's a game. Yeah, it's a game. 2025. There we go. So that's another 5 books this week. So let's update that. Nope, that's not the right tag. This one is. So that brings us down to 55. 9,755 to go. Now let me get those off my desk so I don't worry about them. Hiya! And let's save the spreadsheet and close the spreadsheet and get on with some reading. So, where were we up to? So, small summary and some context, because we were in the middle of a scene. We were. It's word count as a word comic, but if Brian needs to fill it, consider. Webcomics, I add if I've read 20 chapters of that webcomic, because I think that's pretty reasonable. 20 chapters is like a fair amount of reading. And I've added a lot of stuff that would be less so I think that's fair on me. Okay, so what happened? We survived the stockade. The people in the stockade survived the assault from the pirates and have managed to keep their position. Jimmy Hawkins has run off. I can't remember why he ran off, I'm not gonna lie. The things were heating up and not in a fun way. They were not. He took the dinghy built by Ben Gunn, the guy who was stranded here 3 years ago. And he took the dinghy and then he sailed over to the Hispaniola, the boat they took to get here, and cut the guide rope that was holding it, or the anchor, whatever, the rope it was using to stay where it was, and it started drifting away. And then he realized that he was also drifting, and his best bet was to get on the boat. When he got on the boat, he found out that the 2 people who were on the boat have, in fact, tried to kill each other. One of them is dead, and the other one is injured. The other one was too injured to actually get the boat back to the island, so him and Jim, Mr. Hands and Jim, Kitty! The amount that completely throws my thought process off is wonderful. Anyway. So they make a tentative truce to get them back to the island. And then Jim does something smart. He realizes that Mr. Hands is trying to get me off get him away so he can go get a blade. But he sees it happening. He sees Mr. Hands go get a little dirk. And then he's on his guard. But they eventually get back onto the island, and Mr. Hands is like, okay, I can kill him now. So now he's trying to kill him, and that's it. Ultimate ADHD disrupt. My hands are held up because I'm making gestures, that is all. I was just trying to explain with gestures. Anyway, Mr. Catch These Hands, indubitably, that's exactly who he is right now. And I believe I didn't highlight where I ended, so I'm assuming it was just the top of this page we must have ended on. Was yet he was a real guy. We were both of us capsized in a second. Let's go back a minute. Well, while things stood thus, suddenly the Hispaniola struck, staggered ground for an instant in the sand, and then, swift as a blow, cantered over the port side till the deck stood at an angle of 45 degrees, and about a puncheon of water splashed into the scupper holes and lay into a pool between the deck and the bulwark. Ah, so they've capsized a little bit. Capsized. He was Blackbeard's second in command. Yeah, well, was that not Silver? Mr. Hands was the gunner, I think, wasn't he? Maybe. You probably know better than I do, to be honest. We were both of us capsized in a second, and both of us rolled almost together into the scuppers. The dead Redcap, with his arms still spread out, tumbling stiffly after us. So near were we, indeed, that my head came against the coxswain's foot, with a crack that made my teeth rattle, blow and all. I was the first afoot again, for Hans had got involved with the dead body. Oh my, Hans, now's not the time! The sudden canting of the ship made the deck no place for running on. I had to find some new way of escape, and that upon the instant, for my foe was almost touching me. Quick as I thought, I sprang into the mizzen surrounds, rattled up hand over hand, and did not draw a breath till I was seated on the cross trees. I had been saved by being prompt. The dirk had struck not half a foot below me as I pursued my upward flight, and there stood Israel Hands, with his mouth open and his face upturned to mine, a perfect statue of surprise and disappointment. Now that I had a moment to myself, I lost no time in changing the priming of my pistol, and then, having one ready for service, and to make assurance doubly sure, I proceeded to draw the load of the other and recharge it afresh from the beginning. My new employment struck Hans all of a heap. He began to see the dice going against him. And if, after obvious hesitation, he also halted himself heavily into the shrouds, and with the dirk in his teeth, began slowly and painfully to mount. It cost him no end of time and groans to haul his wounded leg behind him, and I had quietly finished my arrangements before he was much more than a third of the way up. Then, with a pistol in either hand, I addressed him. "One more step, Mr. Hands," said I, "and I'll blow your brains out. Dead men don't bite, you know," I added with a chuckle. "Because that's how he said about the other guy. Hwah, hwah, hwah." He stopped instantly. I could see by the workings of his face that he was trying to think, and the process was so slow and laborious that, in my newfound security, I laughed aloud. Why is this boy so fast to get so confident so fast? Jimothy, you could do with a tiny bit more cowardice. Hans got roasted. At last, with a swallow or two, he spoke, his face still wearing the same expression of extreme perplexity. In order to speak to me, he had to take the dagger from his mouth, but in all else he remained unmoved. Gay people these days. He has too much audacity and not enough caution, not enough fear. Not enough fear in this boy. "Jim," says he, "I reckon we've fouled, you and me, and we'll have to sign articles. I'd have had you, but for that there lurch. But I don't have no luck, not I, and I reckon I'll have to strike, which comes hard, you see, for a master mariner to a ship's yonker like you, Jim." I was drinking in his words and smiling away, as conceited as a cock upon a wall, when, all in a breath, back went his right hand over his shoulder. Something sang like an arrow through the air. I felt a blow, and then a sharp pang, and there I was, pinned by the shoulder to the mast, in a horrid... This is why you shouldn't be so cocky, you stupid little shit. You should have just shot him. Good, we're past 15 minutes. It's fine, I can swear. The horrid pain and surprise of the moment. I scarce say it was by my own volition, and I am sure it was without a conscious aim. Both my pistols went off. and both escaped out of my hands. They did not fall alone. With a choked cry, the coxswain loosed his grasp upon the shrouds and plunged headfirst into the water. Well, at least he survived. If Jim's got anything on his side, it's definitely luck. What a beautiful illustration. Let me zoom that in for you so you guys can see it better. If I could find the thing. Na, 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 na. That one. There we go. Look at that. Beautiful. Yes, he did just try to dual wield and fail massively. Absolutely. Good summary. Next. Oh, there's the no. Sorry. The black and white one is also very good, but in like a completely different way. I don't know. Very cool. Look at the picture upside down. Oh, that is cool. That is fascinating. Chapter 27. Pieces of 8. Owing to the cant of the vessel, the masts hung far out over the water, and from my perch on the cross trees, I had nothing below me but the surface of the bay. Hans, who was not so far up, was, in consequence, nearer to the ship and fell between me and the bulwarks. He rose once to the surface in a lather of foam and blood, and then sank again for good. As the water settled, I could see him lying huddled together on the clean, bright sand in the shadow of the vessel's sides. A fish or two whipped past his body. Sometimes, by the quivering of the water, he appeared to move a little, as if he were trying to rise, but he was dead enough. Kitty! It's like a Jack Sparrow moment. It is upside down. For all that, being both shot and drowned, and was food for fish, in the very place where he had designed my slaughter. I was no sooner certain of this than I began to feel sick, faint and terrified. The hot blood was running over my back and chest. The dirk, where it had pinned my shoulder to the mast, seemed to burn like hot iron. Yet it was not so much these real sufferings that distressed me, for these, it seemed to me, I could bear without murmur. It was the horror I had upon my mind of falling from the cross-trees into that still green water, besides the body of the coxswain. Hello! Yes, if anyone is confused as to why I was like slightly different time today, it is because the clocks changed in the UK. We are now, I believe, on British summertime, BST, rather than GMT. Oh, hello, howdy. Howdy on Twitch. Howdy on Twitch, howdy. Hoi, hello. I like that you have two different greetings. You have Howdy Crusader and Hoi as two different That's wonderful. That's a great way of keeping your names in a theme. Those are words. I was no sooner certain of this than I began to feel sick, faint, and terrified. You're back to 7 hours ahead. Aha. Israel Hands is now Israel Fish Fingers. He is consistently inconsistent. Yay! That's how I live. I get mad at my inconsistencies, but then I realize that is my consistency. I clung with both hands till my nails ached, and I shut my eyes as if to cover up the peril. Gradually my mind came back again. My pulses quieted down to a more natural time, and I was once more in possession of myself. It was my first thought to pluck forth the dirk, but either it stuck too hard, or my nerve failed me, and I desisted with a violent shudder. Oddly enough, the very shoulder did the business. The knife, in fact, had come the nearest in the world to missing me altogether. It held me by a mere pinch of skin, and this the shudder tore away. The blood ran down the faster, to be sure, but it was my own master again, and only tacked to the mast by my coat and shirt. Angry about your consistency, just add cornstarch. Well, I'm just going to go downstairs and go eat some cornstarch, and then hopefully my consistency is better. I love it. Streaming's about the only thing I'm consistent with. Even then, I don't feel like my quality is consistent. But who's consistent anyway? Never heard of them. We don't need consistency. We just need books. Blah. These last I broke through with a sudden jerk, and then regained the deck by the starboard shrouds, for nothing in the world would I have again ventured, shaken as I was, upon the overhanging port shrouds from which Israel had so lately fallen. Quality? Nah, we got tea over here. Looks behind the scenes of British Vtubers, finds cornstarch. Just mix a bit of cornstarch with every stream. I went below and did what I could for my wound. It pained me a good deal, and it still bled freely, but it was neither deep nor dangerous, nor did it greatly gall me when I used my arm. When I looked around me, and as the ship was now, in a sense, my own, I began to think of clearing it from its last passenger, the dead man, O'Brien, not O'Brien. He had pitched, as I said, against the bulwarks, where he lay like some horrible, ungainly sort of puppet, life-size indeed, but how different from life's colour or life's comeliness. Comeliness is a funny word. I think this should come back. It's actually a really fun word to say, and I believe we should bring comeliness back. I think you're all very comely. My favourite cooking themed VTuber, Briny Cornstarch. Oh, Briny. Oh, Briny. My, Irish counterpart. Comely to meet you. Comely to meet you too, Kevlar. In that position, I could easily have my way with him. And as the habit of tragical adventures had worn off almost all my terror for the dead, I took him by the waist as if he had been a sack of bran, and with one good heave tumbled him overboard. He went with a sounding plunge. The red cap came off and remained floating on the surface, and as soon as the splash subsided, I could see him and Israel lying side by side, both wavering together the tumultuous movement of the water. O'Brien, though still quite a young man, was very bold. There he lay, with that bald head across the knees of the man who had killed him, and the quick fishes steering to and fro over both. I am Briny Cornstarch trapped in the forbidden kitchen. Yes. I was now alone upon the ship. The tide had just returned. The sun was within so few degrees of setting that already the shadow of pines upon the western shore began to reach right across the anchorage and fall in patterns on the deck. The evening breeze had sprung up, and though it was well warded off by the hill with the two peaks upon the east, the cordage had begun to sing a little softly to itself, and the idle sails to rattle to and fro. I began to see a danger to the ship. The jibs I speedily doused and brought tumbling to the deck, but the mainsail was a harder matter, of course. When the schooner canted over, the boom had swung outboard, and the cap of it and a foot or two of sail hung even under water. I thought this made it still more dangerous, yet the strain was so heavy that I half feared to meddle. At last I got my knife and cut the halyards. The peak dropped instantly. A great belly of loose canvas floated broad on the water, and since, pull as I liked, I could not budge the down haul. That was the extent of what I could accomplish. For the rest, the Hispaniola must trust to luck, like myself. By this time the whole anchorage had fallen into shadow, the last rays, I remember, falling through a glade of the wood, and shining bright as jewels on the flowery mantle of the wreck. It began to be chill. The tide was rapidly fleeing seawards. The schooner settled more and more on her beam ends. I scrambled forward and looked over. It seemed shallow enough, and holding the cut hawser in both hands for the last security, I let myself drop softly overboard. The water scarcely reached my waist. The sand was firm and covered with ripple marks, and I waded ashore in great spirits, leaving the Hispaniola on her side, with her mainsail trailing wide upon the surface of the bay. About the same time the sun went fairly down, and the breeze whistled low in the dusk among the tossing pines. At last, I was off the sea, nor had I returned hence empty-handed. There lay the schooner, clear at last from buccaneers and ready for our own men to board and get to sea again. I had nothing nearer my fancy than to get home to the stockade and boast of my achievements. Possibly I might be blamed a bit for my truancy, but the recapture of the Hispaniola was a clenching answer, and I hoped that even Captain Smollett would confess I had not lost my time. So thinking, and in famous spirits, I began to set my face homeward for the blockhouse and my companions. I remembered that the most earnestly of the rivers which drain into Captain Kidd's anchorage ran from the two peaked hills upon my left, and I bent my course in that direction, that I might pass the stream while it was small. The woods was pretty open, and keeping along the lower spurs, I had soon turned the corner of that hill, and not long after waded to the mid-calf across the watercourse. This brought me near where I had encountered Ben Gunn, the maroon, and I walked more circumspectively, keeping an eye on every side. The dusk had come nigh hand completely, and as I opened out the cleft between the two peaks, I became aware of a wavering glow against the sky, where, as I judged, the man of the island was cooking his supper before a roaring fire. And yet I wondered in my heart that he should show himself so careless. For if I could see this radiance, might it not reach the eyes of Silver himself, where he camped upon the shore among the marshes? Gradually the night fell blacker. It was all I could do to guide myself even roughly towards my destination. The double hill behind me and the spyglass on my right hand loomed faint and fainter, The stars were few and pale, and in the low ground where I wandered, I kept tripping among bushes and rolling into sandy pits. Suddenly, a kind of brightness fell about me. I looked up. The pale glimmer of moonbeams had alighted on the summit of the spyglass, and soon after I saw something broad and silvery moving low down behind the trees, and knew the moon had risen. With this to help me, I passed rapidly over what remained to me of my journey, and sometimes walking, sometimes running, impatiently drew near to the stockade. Yet, as I began to thread the grove that lies before it, I was not so thoughtless but that I slacked my pace, and went a trifle warily. It would have been a poor end of my adventures to get shot down by my own party in mistake. The moon was climbing higher and higher. Its light began to fall here and there in masses through the more open districts of the wood. Twitch kept buggering out. Oh, that's sad. I'm glad you got two options to watch me at least. And right in front of me, a glow of a different colour appeared among the trees. It was red and hot, and now and again it was a little darkened, as it were, the embers of a bonfire smouldering. For the life of me, I could not think what it might be. At last I came right down upon the borders of the clearing. The western end was already steeped in moonshine. The rest and the blockhouse itself still lay in a black shadow checked with long silvery streaks of light. On the other side of the house, an immense fire had burned itself into clear embers. Kitty! And shed a steady red reverberation, contrast strongly with the mellow paleness of the moon. There was not a soul stirring, nor a sound besides the noises of the breeze. The best part of being it. Summon Kitty. Yep. Shiny new chat member command, where you can summon a kitty. Head pat doesn't work with the 3D model. I do apologize. I might see if I can get it working, because my position here isn't all that different. So if I can get it working through OBS rather than VTube Studio, I might be able to get head pat working. Otherwise, ow, rude. That one still works, yeah. It's just head pat and rose change doesn't work with the 3D model. I stopped with much wonder in my heart, and perhaps a little terror also. It had not been our way to build the great fires. We were, indeed, by the captain's orders, somewhat... I don't feel like I can say that word. So I'll let you just take that in. Of firewood, and I began to fear that something had gone wrong while I was absent. Unfortunately, the chat thing has to be on its own message, so it can't be with the rest of the message. It's got to be on its own. Yeah, some of the old books do have some. I mean, there's one, but it was so long ago in my streaming career where I did have to drop some books because of words like this. But it's there. It exists. I stole round by the eastern end, keeping close in shadow, and at a convenient place where the darkness was thickest, crossed the palisade. To make assurance surer, I got upon my hands and knees and crawled, without a sound, towards the corner of the house. We were kind of talking about this, my fiance, recently, about how, like I said, language changing. Like when we were kids, we would openly use gay as an insult. But that's just, obviously you just don't do that now. It's not how the word, it's not what the word means anymore. So it's very much in that sort of bucket, but somehow worse. And that's not even that long ago, really. As I drew nearer, my heart was suddenly and greatly lightened. It is not a pleasant noise in itself, and I have often complained of it at other times, but just then it was like music to hear my friends snoring together, so loud and peaceful in their sleep. The sea cry of the watch, that beautiful "all's well," never felt more reassuring on my ear. In the meantime, there was no doubt of one thing. They kept an infamous bad watch. If it had been Silver and his lads that were now creeping in on them, not a soul would have seen daybreak. That what it was, though. To have the captain wounded, and again I blamed myself sharply for leaving them in that danger with so few to mount guard. By this time I had got to the door and stood up. All was dark within, so that I could distinguish nothing by the eye. As for sounds, there was the steady drone of snores and a small occasional noise, a flickering or pecking that I could in no way account for. With my arms before me, I walked steadily in. I should lie down in my own place, I thought with a silent chuckle, and enjoy their faces when they found me in the morning. Hell, I remember the teachers openly using the R word when yeah, the R word was also something that was used a lot when I was in school as well. So again, just language changes. Words get reclaimed, words get thrown away. It's all, the languages are wonderful and strange like that. We just gotta be aware of it and know that we need to change with times. My foot struck something yielding. It was a sleeper's leg, and he turned and groaned, but without waking. And then, all of a sudden, a shrill voice broke forth out of the darkness. "Pieces of 8! Pieces of 8! Pieces of 8! Pieces of 8! Pieces of 8!" And so forth, without pause or change, like the clacking of a tiny mill. Silver's green parrot, Captain Flint, it was she whom I heard pecking at a piece of bark. It was she, keeping better watch than any human being, who thus announced my arrival with her wearisome refrain, "Oh, hi, tiny Captain Flint." It's like Bowie said, "Turn and face the strange changes." Yeah, correct. It's a good philosophy, because lots of things change, but you gotta face the change. You can't be scared of the change. You gotta go with the change. Unless the change is bad. Gotta make judgments on the change, I guess. And then, but you gotta be open about it. I don't know where I'm going. We're going to Treasure Island, that's where we're going. I had in no time left to recover. At the sharp, clipping tone of the parrot, the sleepers awoke, and sprang up with a mighty oath. The voice of Silver cried, "Who goes?" I turned to run, struck violently against one person, recoiled, and ran full into the arms of a second, who for his part closed upon me and held me tight. "Bring a torch, Dick," said Silver when my capture was thus assured. And one of the men left the log house and presently returned with a lighted brand. Part 6. Captain Silver. I don't want to change. I want to stay static and ignorant, and everyone else is wrong. Yeah! Well, get with the times, howdy. Get with the times. You know what's a change in this stream? An angry cat. And you guys love the angry cat. That's a good change. If the change is bad, just write to your local MP and they'll get to it in 34 years. Oh, that's so true. That's so very true. Kitty! Yay, kitty, kitty, kitty. If you do it in too quick succession, I don't have the cooldown set very well, but if you do it in too quick succession, you won't get the meow, because the meow is longer than the animation. I can activate it too, you know. I can do it like this. Which I considered getting that trigger off, but I want the power to summon the cat also. Kitty cat! Because it brings me so much joy. I get treats too. The only change I want is the money I get when I get paid to... Kitty! Yay! Was the money I get when I paid too much. I would like the money I get paid to change too. I want more money. It's like buying birthday cake for yourself. It is! It is the streamer equivalent of birthday cake for myself, having a way to trigger the cat for myself. Perfect. Like I said, you can trigger the cat on any screen. So when I go to BRB, if you feel lonely, you can trigger the cat, okay? I'm gonna go on BRB. I have returned. Did the cat keep you good company? I hope so. Kitty! Yeah! Kitty! Kitty. I need more kitties. I need to do... I could do something here. 1 second. I'm gonna do something... something very city. Let's do something very city. I would like to do something city. See if this works. Okay. And then I do this. Let's do kitties now. And again. And we do this. And then... Oh no, we should do it like this, I think. And then maybe make it a little smaller. You could be a smaller kitty. There should be a really big cat too. Don't bonk me! This is important. More kitties. More kitties. More kitties. More kitties. More kitties. Let me add more kitties. We need to have one go in the other way. Like this. Yeah. Infestation. So many kitty cats. So many kitty cats. I love the kitty cats. Nya 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 kitty cat. Beautiful. 10 out of 10. So much better now. Absolutely the best. Okay. Let's get back to the book. Silly time. But can I make it better? No! Let's not get distracted. Got a little distracted. Absolute cinema. I know, right? In the enemy's camp. The red glare of the torch lighting up the interior of the blockhouse showed me the worst of my apprehensions realized. The pirates were in possession of the house and stores. There was the cask of cognac. There were the pork and bread as before. And what tenfold increased my horror, not a sign of any prisoner. I could only judge that all had perished, and my heart smote me sorely that I had not been there to perish with them. Cat stream with some reading. Not even a real cat, just a little crochet cat. I think that should last longer, you know. I think we should have the cat on longer as well. I'm gonna there we go. Cat'll stay. No, that's too many. That's too long. No. Okay, cat will be on slightly longer now. Only slightly. There were 6 of the buccaneers, all told. Not another man was left alive. 5 of them were on their feet, flushed and swollen, suddenly called out of the first sleep of drunkenness. The 6th had only risen above his elbow. He was deathly pale, and the blood-stained bandage round his head told... Yes, that's perfect. I think that's a good amount of time. They're there long enough that you can, like, admire them, but not long enough that they get in the way. I can't wait for, like... We need more to end on this side. I need maybe one more, actually. This isn't right. I need one to end in that corner. So maybe I just need this one to be a little bigger and end over there. Yeah, that's perfect. The sentence structures are so hard. Like, obviously you know that I struggle reading some stuff sometimes, and this makes me trip over so hard. 50 cats later. We could do that. Don't challenge me. We could do that. We could have the whole screen just cats. Cats just rocketing across. This could be done. But we shouldn't be doing that. We're supposed to be reading. This is a reading stream, not a cat. Well, it might be a small cat stream. Just a small. No, none of them finish up there. That one goes that way. Maybe I should flip that one so it goes this way instead. Yeah, that's better. That feels better to me. March of 100 cats by. No, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me. I don't want to do it. I shouldn't do it. I'm not sure how I could. I think I'd need to change it a little bit. We could add some randomness as to how many get activated. But I need to change a different screen to do that. No, you're getting me distracted! Now! Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop giving me ideas. I'll write down the ideas, though. More cats. Random. amount and directions. I can work on that tomorrow. Not now. We have reading to do. It's reading time, not cat time. Reading stream turns into cat stream. Yeah, but I mean, I could try to do both. Where are we up to? Because it's in this one, and I need to. Don't crash your PC though. I mean, put a reasonable limit. I will. I'd have to add a cat. This is gonna look really weird to you guys. Well, actually, Sorry, now I'm having too much fun. That's not how that's gonna work. I'm gonna need to duplicate this cat, preferably. Copy. Paste. So I should be able to move this one here and then do that. And then what I can do in here is it can state visible. Oh, there's gotta be some way I can randomize this. No, maybe I can't yet. Fun in my brainy stream. I hope you have fun every stream. This cat doesn't move. No, it's gonna take too long. It's gonna be too much of a faff. We can't be doing this. We can't be doing this. Can't be doing this. We're just gonna leave it as it is. Just gonna leave it at this. I will have fun tomorrow. It's gonna take too much to figure out. I thought I could maybe get it done now, but it's gonna be too much to figure out. Deep fried chicken nugget cats now the main content of Brainy. My little kitty cat. I could just make one appear in general. We could just image angry cat pic. There he is. My glorious boy. There we go. Beautiful. Where were we? I have no clue. Yes, and still more recently dressed. I remembered the man who had been shot and had run back among the woods in the great attack and doubted not that this was he. The parrot sat preening her plumage on Long John's shoulder. He himself, I thought, looked somewhat paler and more stern than I was used to. He still wore the fine broadcloth suit in which he had fulfilled his mission, but it was bitterly the worse for wear, dabbed with clay and torn the sharp barriers of the wood. "So," said he, "here's Jim Hawkins, shiver me timbers, dropped in like well, come, I take that friendly." And thereupon he sat down across the brandy cask and began to fill a pipe. "Give me a loan of the link, Dick," said he, and then, when he had a good light, "That'll do, lad," he added. "Stick the glim in the wood heap, and you, gentlemen, bring yourselves too. You needn't were dissensed at me for my desertion, and I was more relieved than distressed by what I heard." No, that was wrong. "You needn't stand up for Mr. Hawkins. He'll excuse you, and you may lay to that. And so, Jim," stopping the tobacco, "here you were, and quite a pleasant surprise for poor old John. I see you were smart when I first set my eyes on you, but this here gets away from me clean, it do." To all this, as may be well supposed, I made no answer. They had set me with my back against the wall, and stood there, looking Silver in the face pluckily enough, I hope, to all outward appearance, but with black despair in my heart. Silver took a whiff or two of his pipe, then with great composure, and then ran on again. Oh, let me take a drink, because Silver is some effort. That could just be Chat's mascot. He's not deep fried, he's just orange. Look at him. He's beautiful. So is that what you guys? Is this going to be your representation on stream now? Are you all just little angry orange cats? I never gave you guys a name. You guys could just be angry cats, if you wish. The library cats. So angry. You always want uppies. He's Cheerios colored. He kind of is. No, I believe that's Cheetos. Yeah, I was about to say, wait, no, not Cheerios. Cheerios are brown. He does look a little deep fried when he's small though, doesn't he? Like a little chicken nugget. I'm not angry, how dare you? Yes, you are normal and sized. Gets angry. Just unamused then, maybe. If you would not like to be angry, you could be unamused cats. Cats will eat their own when given the chance. You guys would! You guys have wanted to go out. Yeah, kitties! Now you see, Jim, so be as you are here, says he. I'll give you a piece of my mind. I've always liked you, I have, for a lad of spirit and the picture of my own self when I was young and handsome. I always wanted you to join and take your share and die a gentleman. And now, my cock, you've got to. Captain Smollett's a fine seaman, and I'll own up to any day but stiff on discipline. Duty is duty, says he, and right he is. Just you keep clear of the captain. The doctor himself is gone, dead again. You ungrateful scamp, was what he said. And the short and long of the whole story is about here. You can't go back to your own lot, for they won't have you. And without you start a third ship's company all by yourself, which might be lonely, you'll have to join with Captain Silver. I don't think that's entirely correct. I believe that Captain Silver is Captain Lion. So far, so good. My friends, then, were still alive, and though I partly believed the truth of Silver's statement, that the cabin party were incensed at me for my desertion, I was more relieved than distressed by what I heard. I don't say nothing as to your being in our hands, continued Silver, though there you are, and you may lay to it, I'm all for disagreement. I never seen good come out of threatening. If you like the service, well, you'll join. Jane! And if you don't, Jim, why, you're free to answer no. Free and welcome, shipmate. And if fairer can be said by mortal seamen, shiver me sides. Not me timbers, just me sides. Real pirate! Am I to answer, then? I asked with a very tumultuous voice. Through all this sneering talk, I was made to feel the threat of death that overhung me, and my cheeks burned, and my heart beat painfully in my breast. Lad, said Silver. No one's a-pressing you, have you? Take your bearings. None of us won't hurry you, mate. Time goes so pleasant in your company, you see. Well, says I, growing a bit bolder, if I'm to choose, I declare I have a right to know what's what, and why you're here, and where my friends are. What's what? He repeated, one of the buccaneers, in a deep growl. Oh, he'd be a lucky one as knowed that. You're perhaps bitten down your hatches till you're spoken to, my friend, cried Silver, to the speaker. And then, in his first gracious tones, he replied to me, Yesterday morning, Mr. Hawkins, said he, in the watchdog came Dr. Livesey with a flag of truce, says he. Captain Silver, you're sold out. Ship's gone. Well, maybe he'd been less a glass and a song to help it round. I won't say no, lestways none of us had look out. We looked out, and by thunder the old ship was gone. I never seen a pack of fools look fishier, and you may lay to that, if I tells you that looking the fishiest. Well, says the doctor, let's bargain. We bargained, him and I, and here we are. Stores, brandy, blockhouse, the firewood you was thoughtful enough to cut, and in a manner of speaking, the old blessed boat from cross trees to Kelson. As for them, they've tramped, I don't know where's they are. He drew again, quietly at his pipe, and I'm going to take another drink. The Silver voice is a bit hard on me throat, but we're going to get through it. Unless you should take it into that head of yours, he went on, that you was included in the treaty, is the last word that was said. How many are you, says I, to leave? 4, says he, 4, and one of us wounded. As for that boy, I don't know where he is. Confound him, says he, nor do I much care. We're about sick of him. These were his words. Is that all? I asked. Well, it's all that you're to hear, my son, returned Silver. And now am I to choose? And now you are to choose, and you may lay to that, said Silver. Well, said I am not such a fool, but I know pretty well what I have to look for. Let the worst come to the worst, it's little I care. I've seen too many die since I fell in with you, but there's a thing or two I have to tell you. I said, and by this time I was quite excited. And the first is this. Here you are, in a bad way. Ship lost, treasure lost, men lost, your whole business gone to wreck. And if you want to know who did it, it was I. I was in the apple barrel the night we sighted land. And I heard you, John, and you, Dick Johnson, and Hans, who is now at the bottom of the sea, and told every word you said before the hour was out. And as for the schooner, it was I who cut her cable. It was I that killed the men you had aboard of her, and it was I who brought her where you'll never see her more, not one of you. The laugh's on my side. I've had the top of this business from the first. I no more fear you than I fear a fly. Kill me, if you please, or spare me. But one thing I'll say, and no more. If you spare me, bygones are bygones. And when you fellows are in court for piracy, I'll save you all I can. It is for you to choose. Kill another and do yourselves no good, or spare me and keep a witness to save you from the gallows. Jimothy! Jimothy Hawkins. Why? You need more caution, more cowardice. Why are you mouthing off in a room of armed men who will murder you and being like, haha, I'm the one who screwed you over the best. What a bastard. What a stupid child. I stopped, for I tell you I was out of breath, and to my wonder not a man of them moved, but all sat staring at me like as many sheep. And while they were still staring, I broke out again. And now, Mr. Silver, said I believe you're the best man here, and if things go to the worst, I'll take it kind of you to let the doctor know the way I took it. Not gonna lie, it was cute. Jimothy is acting like a villain. he is doing the bad guy monologue. Absolutely. It was me, Silver. I stole your ship, killed your men. Pro. Tenandayo. I'll bear it in mind, said Silver with an accent so curious that I could not for the life of me decide whether he were laughing at my request or had been favourably affected by my courage. I'll put one to that, cried the old mahogany-faced seaman, Morgan by name, whom I had seen in Long John's public house upon the quays of Bristol. It was him that knowed the black dog. Well, and see here, added the sea cook, I'll put another again to that, by thunder, for it was the same boy that faked the chart from Billy Bones. First and last, we've split upon Jim Hawkins. And there he goes, said Morgan with an oath, and he sprang up, drawing his knife, as if it had been 20. Avast there, cried Silver. Who are you, Tom Morgan? Maybe you thought you was captain here, perhaps. By the powers, but I'll teach you better. Cross me here. Cross me, and you'll go where many a good man's gone before you, first and last. These 30 year back, some to the yard arm, shiver me timbers, and some by the board, and all to feed the fishes. There's never a man looked me between the eyes and seen a good days afterwards. Tom Morgan, you may lay to that. Morgan paused, but a hoarse murmur rose from the others. Tom's right, said one. I stood hazing long enough from one, cried another. I'll be hanged if I'll be hazed by you, John Silver. Silver is 30 years old. I thought he'd be like 50 or something. Yeah, it's fantasy 30, where they should be older but they're not. Did any of you gentlemen want to have it out with me? Roared Silver, bending far forward from his position on the keg, with his pipe still glowing in his right hand. Put a name on what you're at. You ain't dumb, I reckon. Him that wants shall get it. I have lived this many years, and a son of a rum-punchin' cock has had to thwart my horse at the latter end of it. You know the way. You're all gentlemen of fortune. By your account, well, I'm ready. Take a cutlass, him that dares, and I'll see the colour of his inside, crutch and all, before that pipe's empty. God damn. That's pretty badass, actually. Not a man stirred. Not a man answered. This is so cool. Like, the clearness of his, like, amputation, and then how badass he is on the top of that. Silva is kind of cool, I won't lie. He's really scary. He can command a room so much. There is, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 able-bodied men in the room, yet the guy with only one leg is like, I will fuck all of you up. Just try it. God damn. Not a man stirred. Not a man answered. What's your saw? That's your saw, isn't it? He added, returning his pipe to his mouth. Well, you're a gay lot to look at anyway. Not much worth to fight, you ain't. Perhaps you can understand King George's English. I'm captain here by lexicon. I'm captain here because I'm the best man by a long sea mile. You won't fight as gentlemen of fortune should. Then, by thunder, you'll obey, and you may lay to it. I like that boy now. I never seen a better boy than that. He's more a man than any pair of rats of you in this here house. And that, I say, is this. Let me see him that'll lay a hand on him. That's why I say, you may lay to it. That's why he's the captain, indubitably. I mean, there's a reason he's the most famous pirate in literature. There is a reason, and it's a good reason. You were behind the stream by 15 minutes, Kevlar, no! That explains why some of your chat comments were confusing me. There was a long pause after this. I stood straight up against the wall, my heart still going like a sledgehammer, but with a ray of hope now shimmering in my bosom. Silver leant back against the wall, his arms crossed, his pipe in the corner of his mouth. It's okay, no worries. As calm as though he had been in church, yet his eyes kept wandering furtively, and he kept the tail of it on his unruly followers. They, on their part, drew gradually together towards the far end of the blockhouse, and the low hiss of their whispering sounded in my ear continuously like a stream. One after another they would look up, and the red light of the torch would fall for a second on their nervous faces. But it was not towards me. It was towards Silver that they turned their eyes. I got paranoid and checked to make sure he wasn't behind stream. I've had that happen a few times and got confused why nothing added up. And I saw I was behind. Streams are funny. Congrats, Timothy. Silver has now adopted you. Do not resist. You have earned his adoption. You seem to have a lot to say, remarked Silver, spitting into the air. Pipe up and let me hear it, or lay to. I ask your pardon, sir, returned one of the men. You're pretty free with some of the rules. Maybe you'll kindly keep an eye upon the rest. This crew's dissatisfied. This crew don't value bullying and maul and spike. This crew has its rights like other crews. I'll make so free as that. And by your own rules, I take it we can talk together. I ask your pardon, sir, acknowledging you for to be captaining and at this present, but I claim my rights. I step outside for counsel. With an elaborate sea salute, this fellow, a long, ill-looking, yellow-eyed man of 35, stepped coolly towards the door and disappeared out of the house. One after another, the rest followed his example, each taking a salute as he passed, each adding some apology according to the rules, one said. Forecastle council, said Morgan. And so, with one remark or another, all marched out and left Silver and me alone with the torch. The sea cook instantly removed his pipe. Now, look you here, Jim Hawkins, he said in a steady whisper that was no more than audible. You're within half a plank of death, and what's a long sight worse, of torture. They're going to throw me off, but you mark, I stand by you through thick and thin. I didn't mean to, no, not till you spoke up. I was about desperate to lose that much blunt, and be hanged into the bargain, but I see you was the right sort. I says to myself, you stand by Hawkins, John, and Hawkins'll stand by you. You're the last card, and by the living thunder, John, he's yours. Back to back, says I. You save your witness, he'll save your neck. I began dimly to understand. You mean all's lost? I asked. Aye, by gum I do, he answered. Ship's gone, neck gone. That's the season of it. Once I looked into that bay, Jim Hawkins, and seen no schooner, well, I'm tough, but I gave out. As for that lot and their counsel, mark me, they're outright fools and cowards. I'll save your life, if so be as I can from them. But see here, Jim, tit for tat, you saved Long John from swigging. I was bewildered. It seemed a thing so hopeless he was asking. He, the old buccaneer, the ringleader throughout. What I can do, that'll do, I said. It's a bargain, cried Long John. You speak up plucky, and by thunder I'll have a chance. He hobbled to the torch where it stood propped among the firewood, and took a fresh light to his pipe. Understand me, Jim, he said, returning. I've a head on my shoulders, I have. I'm on Squire's side now. I know I've got that ship safe somewheres. I know you've got that ship safe somewheres. How you've done it, I don't know, but safe it is. I guess Anne's or O'Brien turned soft. I never much believed in neither of them. But now you mark me. I ask no questions, nor I won't let others. I know when the game's up, I do, and I know a lad that's staunch. You that's young, you and me, might have done a power of good together. He drew some cognac from the cask into a tin cankin. Will you taste, messmate? He asked, and when I had refused, well, I'll take a dram myself, Jim, said he. I need a corker, for there's trouble on hand. And talking old trouble, why did that doctor give me the chart, Jim? My face expressed a wonder so unaffected that he saw the needlessness of further questions. Ah, well, he did, though, said he. And there's something under that, no doubt. Something surely that under that, Jim, bad or good. And he took another swallow of the brandy, shaking his great fair head like a man who looks forward to the worst. The black spot again! Again. The council of buccaneers had lasted some time, when one of them re-entered the house, and with a repetition of the same salute, which had, in my eyes, an ironical air, begged for a moment's loan of the torch. Silver briefly agreed, and this emissary retired again, leaving us together in the dark. There's a breeze coming, Jim, said Silver, who had by this time adopted quite a friendly and familiar tone. I turned to the loophole nearest me and looked out. The embers of the great fire had so far burned themselves out, and now glowed so low and duskily that I understood why these conspirators desired a torch. About halfway down the slope to the stockade, they were collected in a group. One held the light. One was on his knees in their midst, and I saw the blade of an open knife shine in his hands with varying colours in the moon and torchlight. The rest were all somewhat stooping, as though watching the manoeuvres of this last. I could make out that he had a book as well as a knife in his hand, and was still wondering how anything so incongruous had come in their possession, when the kneeling figure rose once more to his feet, and the whole party began to move together towards the house. It's time! Looks like a planning committee if I ever saw one. Here they come, said I, and I returned to my former position, for it seemed to be beneath my dignity that they should find me watching them. Well, let 'em come, lad, let 'em come, said Silver cheerfully, as still a shot in my locker. The door opened, and the 5 men, standing huddled together just inside, pushed one of their number forward. In any other circumstance, it would have been comical to see the slow advance, hesitating as he set down each foot, but holding out his closed right hand in front of Silver. Step up, lad, cried Silver. I won't eat you. Hand it over, lubber. I know the rules, I do. I won't, deputation. Thus encouraged, the buccaneers stepped forth more briskly, and, having passed something to Silver from hand to hand, slipped yet more smartly back again to his companions. The sea cook looked at what he had been given. The black spot! I thought so, he observed. Where might you have got the paper? Why, hello! Look here, now. This ain't lucky. Ah, you got and cut this out the Bible. What fools cut a Bible? That's how you know they're evil. They cut a Bible. In the what 1700s when this was set. Blasphemy. Ah, there, said Morgan. There. What did I say? No good it'll come of that, I said. Well, you've about fixed it now among ye, continued Silver. You'll all swing now, I reckon. What soft-headed lubber had a Bible? It was Dick, said one. Dick, was it? Also a good spot to hide contraband. True. I love this scene in Muppet Treasure Island with Tim Curry going into a tirade at the pirate Muppets. That sounds good. I need to track that down. Would that be on Disney Plus maybe? I don't know. After all, what dastardly villain defaces the good book? I know, right? Instantly catches on fire watching the Bible. Dick, was it? Then Dick can get to prayers, said Silver. He's seen his slice of luck, as Dick, and you may lay to that. But here the long man with yellow eyes struck in. Belay that talk, John Silver, he said. This crew has tipped you the black spot in full council. As in duty bound, just you turn it over, as in duty bound, and sees what that's wrote there. Then you can talk. Thank you, George, replied the sea cook. You always was brisk for business, and as the rules by heart, George, as I'm pleased to see. Well, what is it anyway? Ah, dispose, that's it, is it? Very pretty wrote. To be sure, like print, I swear. Your hand are right, George. Why, you was getting quite a leading man in here crew. You'd be captain next. I shouldn't wonder, just oblige me with that torch again, will ya? This pipe don't draw. Come now, said George. You don't fool this crew no more. You're a funny man by your account, but you're over now, and you'll maybe step down off that barrel and outvote. I thought you said you knowed the rules, returned Silver contemptuously. Leastways, if you don't mind, I do. I wait here, and I'll still be your captain, mind, till you outs with your grievances, and I reply, in the meantime, your black spot ain't worth a biscuit. After that, we'll see. I mean, a biscuit's wonderful. To me, a biscuit is worth a lot, so... Biscuit, though. Ah, replied George, you don't be under no kind of apprehension. We're all square, we are. First, you've made an ash of this cruise. You'll be a bold man to say no to that. Second, you let the enemy out of here trapped for nothing. Why did they want out? I don't know. But it's pretty plain they wanted it. Third, you wouldn't let us go at them upon the march. Oh, we see through you, John Silver. You want to play booty. That's what's wrong with you. And then, fourth, there's this here boy. Is that all? Asked Silver quietly. Enough too, George retorted. We'll all swing and sun-dry for your bludgeoning. Bungling! Bungling! Well now, look here. I'll answer these 4 pints one after another. I'll answer 'em. I made ash of this cruise, did I? Well now, you all know what I wanted, and you all know, if that had been done, that I'd be aboard the Hispaniola this night as ever was. Every man of us alive and fit and full of good plum duff, and the treasure in the hold of her, by thunder. Well, who crossed me? Who forced my hand, as was the lawful captain? Who tripped me the black spot the day we landed, and began this dance? Ah, it's a fine dance, I'm with you there, and looks mighty like a hornpipe in a rope's end at Execution Dock by London town. It does. But who done it? Why, it was Anderson and Hans, and you, George Merry, and you're the last above board of the same meddling crew, and you have the Davy Jones insolence to up and stand for captain over me. You, that sank the lot of us. By the powers, but this tops the stiffest yarn to nothing. Silver paused, and I could see by the faces of George and his late comrades that these words had not been said in vain. That's for number 1, cried the accused, wiping the sweat from his brow, for he had been talking with a vengeance that shook the house and my throat. Why, I give you my word, I'm sick to speak to you. I've neither sense nor memory, and I leave it to fancy where your mother's was that let you come to sea. See, gentlemen of fortune, I reckon tailor's your trade. Go on, John, said Morgan. Speak up to the others. Ah, the others, returned John. They're a nice lot, ain't they? You said this cruise is bungled. Ah, by gum, if you could understand how bad it's bungled, you would see. We're that near the gibbet that my neck's stiff with thinking on it. You've seen 'em, maybe, hanged in chains, birds about 'em, seamen painting 'em out as they go down with the tide. Who's that? Says one. Why, that's John Silver. I knowed him well, says another. And you can hear the chains a jangle as you go about and reach for the other boy. Now that's about where we are. Every mother's son of us, thanks to him, and Hans and Anderson, and other ruinations, fools of you. And if you want to know about the number 4, and that boy, why, shiver me timbers, he's a hostage. Are we a-going to waste our hostage? No, not us. He might be our last chance, and I shouldn't wonder. Kill that boy? Not me, mates. And number 3, well, there's a deal to say to number 3. Maybe you don't count it nothing to have a real college doctor to see you every day. You, John, with your head broke, or you, George Merry, that had the argue shakes upon you not 6 hours agone, and has your eyes the colour 11 peal to this same moment on the clock. And maybe perhaps you didn't know there was a consort coming either, but there is, and not so long till then. And we'll see who will be glad to have a hostage when it comes to that. And as for number 2, and why I made a bargain, well, you came crawling on your knees to me, to make it on your knees you came. You was that downhearted, and you'd have starved too if I hadn't, but that's a trifle. You look there, that's why. Just a whole crew of bunglers. He is in fact Long John Silver. The number 4 fish sandwich, a drink, and popcorn shrimp. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was a speech. Oh my lord. And he cast down upon the floor a paper that I instantly recognised. None other than the chart on yellow paper with the 3 red crosses that I had found in the oilcloth at the bottom of the captain's chest. Why the doctor had given it to him was more than I could fancy. But if it were inexplicable to me, the appearance of the chart was incredible to the surviving mutineers. They leapt upon it like cats upon a mouse. It went from hand to hand, one tearing it from the other, and by the oaths and cries and the childish laughter with which they accompanied their examination, you would have thought not only they were fingering the very gold, but were at sea with it, besides in safety. Yes, said one, that's flint, sure enough, J.F., and a score below, with a clove hitched to it. So he done ever. Mighty pretty, said George, but how are we to get away with it, and us no ship? Silver suddenly sprang up, and supporting himself with a hand against the wall. Now I give you warning, George, he cried. One more word of your sauce, and I'll call you down and fight you. How? Why, how do I know? You had ought to tell me that you and the rest that lost me schooner with your interference burn you. But not you. You can't. You hain't got the invention of a cockroach, but civil you can speak, and shall, George Merry, you may lay to that. That's, you may lay to that is like, of all the pirate speak we got as a mostly from this book, like Shiver Me Timbers and stuff, you may lay to that is actually more the thing he says the most. That's fair enough, said the old man Morgan. Fair? I reckon so, said the sea cook. You lost your ship. I found the treasure. Who's the better man at that? And now I resign, by thunder. Elect whom you please to be your captain now. I'm done with it. Silver! They cried. Barbecue forever! Barbecue for captain! I forgot that they called him barbecue. Barbecue! 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 Why is the tracking gone absolutely weird today? barbecue, 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 barbecue. Now imagine Joseph giving... Oh, God, don't bring up Joseph. The Silver is worse... Oh, my God, what is happening? Tracking Doko. Joseph is worse because I physically cannot read his speech. But John is arguably worse because I can read his speech, therefore he kills my throat. So that's the tune, is it? Cried the cook. George, I reckon you'll have to wait for another turn, friend. And lucky for you, as I'm not a vengeful man. But that was never my way. And now, shipmates, this black spot tain't much good now, is it? Dick's crossed his luck and spoiled his Bible, and that's about all. It'll do to kiss the book sit on still, won't it? Growled Dick, who was evidently uneasy at the curse he had brought upon himself. A Bible with a big cut-out, returned Silver decisively. Not it. I don't bind no more'n a ballad book. Don't it, though? Cried Dick, with a sort of joy. Well, I reckon that's worth having, too. Here, Jim, here's a curiosity for you, Silver said as he tossed me the paper. It was around the size of a crown piece. One side was blank, for it had been the last leaf, and the other contained a verse or two of Revelation. These words among the rest, which struck sharply home upon my mind. Without are dogs and murderers. The printed side had been blackened with wood ash, which already began to come off and soil my fingers. On the blank side had been written with the same material the one word, deposed. I have that curiosity beside me at this moment, but not a trace of writing how remains beyond a single scratch such a man might make with his thumbnail. Just a mention of Joseph kills my tracker. It does. You should never mention him. That was the end of the night's business. Soon after, with a drink all round, we lay down to sleep, and the outside of Silver's vengeance was to put George Merry up for sentinel and threaten him with death if he should prove unfaithful. It was ere long I could close an eye. Kitties! He doesn't always kill my tracking, but it does make me happy. It was long ere I could close an eye, and heavens knows I had matter enough for thought in the man whom I had slain that afternoon. In my own most perilous position, and above all, in the remarkable game that I saw Silver now engaged upon, keeping the mutineers together with one hand and grasping with the other every means possible and impossible to make his peace and save his miserable life. He himself slept peacefully and snored aloud, yet my heart was sore for him, wicked as he was, to think on the dark perils that environed and the shameful gibbet that awaited him. Da 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 da! Kitties! Any last words before you walk the plank? Meow! It's a wonderful chat command, is it not? Chapter 30. We've officially been adopted by Silver. It didn't happen on the boat like in Treasure Planet. It happened when we got there. It happened like 70% of the way into the book, which is wild. We only have about 10 minutes left, so how big's this chapter? fairly large. So I guess we will... Oh my gosh. We'll start it, and I guess we'll have to just highlight it at a good spot to stop. Summon angry cat member. The member ones don't count unless it's in a message on its by itself, unfortunately. So you cannot do cool things like that. How dare you want to do cool things like that? I was wakened, indeed, we were all wakened, for I could see even the sentinel shake himself together from where he had fallen against the doorpost, by a clear, hearty voice hailing us from the margin of the wood. "Blockhouse ahoy!" it cried. "Here's the doctor!" And the doctor it was. Although I was glad to hear the sound, yet my gladness was not without a mixture. I remembered with confusion my insubordinate and stealthy conduct, and when I saw where it had brought me, among what companions, and surrounded by what dangers, I felt ashamed to look him in the face. I meant that your last words were literally summon angry cat member. I understand. I understand. He must have risen in the dark, for the day had hardly come, and when I ran to... Kitties! By the way, when we go to other screens, there will be back to being only one angry cat. I only managed to do that for this screen, but I will probably change that up so it happens on every screen after this. 'Cause that's more fun! When I ran to the loophole and looked out, I saw him standing, like Silver once before, up to the mid-leg in creeping vapour. "You, Doctor, top of the morning to you, sir," cried Silver, broad awake and beaming with good nature at a moment. "Bright and early, to be sure, and it's the early bird, as the saying goes, that gets the rations. George, shake up your timbers, son, and help Dr. Livesey over the ship's side. All a doing, well, your patience was all well and merry." So he pattered on, standing on the hilltop with his crutch under his elbow and one hand upon the side of the log house, quite the old John in voice, manner, and expression. You are a bunch of strange cats, but I like cats. I like cats a lot. We got quite a surprise for you too, sir," he continued. "We've a little stranger here, a new boarder and lodger, sir, and looking fit and taut as a fiddle. Slept like a supercargo, he did, or right alongside of John. Stem to stem we were all night." Dr. Livesey was, by this time, across the stockade and pretty near the cook, and I could hear the alteration in his voice as he said, "Not Jim?" "The very same Jim as ever was," says Silver. The doctor stopped outright, although he did not speak, and it was some seconds before he seemed able to move on. "Well, well," he said at last, "duty first and pleasure afterwards. As you might have said yourself, Silver, let us overhaul these patients of yours." A moment afterwards he had entered the blockhouse, and with one grim nod to me, proceeded with his work among the sick. He seemed under no apprehension, though he must have known that his life among these treacherous demons depended on a hair, and he rattled on to his patients as if they were paying an ordinary professional visit in a quiet English family. His manner, I suppose, reacted on the man, for they behaved to him as if nothing had occurred, as if he was still ship's doctor, and they still faithful hands before the mast. "You're doing well, my friend," he said to the fellow with the bandaged head, "and if any person had a close shave, it was you. Your head must be hard as iron. Well, George, how goes it? You're a pretty colour, certainly. Why, your liver, man, is upside down. Did you take that medicine? Did he take that medicine, men?" "Aye, aye, sir, he took it, sure enough," returned Morgan. Because you see, since I am mutineer's doctor, or prison doctor..." Nope, sorry, this is Dr. Lively. "Because you see, since I am mutineer's doctor, or prison doctor, as I prefer to call it," says Dr. Lively in his pleasant way, "I make it a point of honour not to lose a man for King George, God bless him, and the gallows." The rogues looked at each other, but swallowed their home thrust in silence. "Dick don't feel well, sir," said one. "Don't he?" replied the doctor. "Well, step up here, Dick, and let me see your tongue. No, I shall be surprised if he did. The man's tongue is fit to frighten the French. Another fever?" The word supercargo seemed odd to me, and turned out it's a formal term meaning a representative of the ship's owner on board a merchant ship, responsible for overseeing the cargo of its sail. Oh! So the phrase slept like a supercargo from the... Yeah, that's interesting. Fun facts. So, slept like someone who has little responsibilities. "Ah, there," said Morgan. "That confirmed of splitting Bibles." "That comes, as you call it, of being arrant asses," retorted the doctor, "and not having sense enough to know honest air from poison, and the dry land from a vile, pestiferous-filled slough. I think it most probable, though of course it's only an opinion, that you'll all have the deuce to pay before you get that malaria out of your systems. Camp in a bog, would you, Silver? I'm surprised at you. You're less of a fool than many. Take you all round, but you don't appear to me to have the rudiments of a notion of the rules of health." "Well," he added, after he had dosed them around, and they had taken prescriptions with really laughable humility, more like charity school children than blood-guilty mutineers and pirates, "well, that's done for today, and now I should wish to have a talk with that boy, please." And he nodded his head in my direction carelessly. George Merry was at the doctor, spitting and spluttering over some bad-tasting medicine, but at the first word of the doctor's proposal, he swung round with a deep flush and cried, "No!" and swore. Silver struck the barrel with his open hand. "Silence!" he roared, and looked around him positively like a lion. "Doctor," he went on in his usual tones, "I was a-thinking of that, knowing as how you had a fancy for the boy. We're all humbly grateful for your kindness, as you see, put faiths in you and take the drugs down like that much grog, and I take it you've found a way as'll suit all. Hawkins will give me your word of honour as a gentleman, for a young gentleman you are, although poor born. Your word of honour not to slip your cable." I readily gave the pledge required. "Then, Doctor," said Silver, "you just step outside of that stockade, and once you're there I'll bring the boy down on the inside, and I reckon you can yarn through the spars. Good day to you, sir, and all our duties to the Squire and Captain Smollett." I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to highlight where I need to start again next week, because I think that's going to be an okay place to stop, because it's just going to be a case of we're going to have our first conversation with Dr. Lively after everything that happened. After this... Yay, kitties! After Jimothy's adventure. But we are 70% of the way through this book. Kitties! I love it. I love it so much. It's the best. So we're on the final bit. So we've only got this chapter and then 1, 2, 3, 4 more chapters to go. And then we're done. So we've probably only got a couple more streams left of this. Exciting. And then, I did have a question I wanted to ask you guys. And you don't have to answer now. But I know that we've liked some fun facts. Would you guys consider maybe if we did like a history book or something like that, like a non-fiction? If we did some educational books, I think that could be fun. Maybe a little boring though, a bit dry. So I'll have to look into it. But if I find one that could be kind of funny or interesting, maybe we could do that. What kind of history? I don't know. Maybe there's a lot out there, isn't there? The idea came to me because I went on a walk to a castle recently. Foaming in the mouth, yes. And at the castle, they built this Bronze Age hut there, basically, and there was a guy talking about it, and I don't know, it was fascinating. That would be fun. History is not dry if you read into it enough. Yeah, so, Australian Emu War. So for me, obviously, I'm from the UK, so a lot of British history fascinates me a lot. But if you guys have particular bits of history, or maybe even lesser known bits of history that you would find interesting for a book, please feel free to put it in the suggestion box in Discord, and I will look up some books for it and maybe see if I can get some permissions to read some stuff. If not, I will try to read up about it beforehand, make notes, and then I can just kind of go through my notes as a kind of abridged version. Maybe. We'll have a look into it. We'll see what we can do. But it's just an idea I came across recently. Oh, there's a YouTube channel I could recommend that is focused on the history of Wales. Lots of interesting stuff. Oh, that's fun. I was looking at some etymology ones again. I found this one fun little book. Let me see if I can find it. Because we've talked about etymology a few times. May we borrow your language, how English steals words from all over the world. I plan on trying to talk to them potentially, because obviously language books were something we were thinking about before. And even if I don't get to read that one on the stream, I might make like little shorts based off it that like go into each word's history. But yeah, so feel free to give us some suggestions on Discord on what part of history you would like to learn about, and we can learn about it together. If not, we're probably going to be looking at Romans, or maybe medieval, or maybe even before that, Bronze Age, Iron Age, or something like that. Because that's kind of where my brain is. But I'm open to suggestions, so let me know. But until then, I will be back tomorrow. We're going to be finishing 999, which is the start of next month, isn't it? No, Monday's the 31st, so we might still finish 999 this month. Ha ha ha! Assuming it takes one more stream. I don't know how good it will be. I think the original works that collected the Paston letters are fair use due to their age. I'll send everything as suggestions. Yes, do that. That will be wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will be back tomorrow with 999. But until then, if you enjoyed the stream, I would highly appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're on Twitch, if you give the channel a cheeky little follow, that would be lovely as well. If you have joined the Discord and done all that free stuff to support me, if you have some extra cash and you would like to support me in other ways, and you would like to be able to trigger these kitties, You can join YouTube membership where you get emotes, exclusive streams, Discord channel, merch discounts, and emote and chat commands like those wonderful kitties. There is the Patreon where you can get short stories, exclusive streams, merch discounts, and free books. There is the Kofi where if you like my emotes you can commission me to draw some for you, and there's some short stories in the shop. And there is the merch store where you can get ebooks, first edition copies of books that I've written, bookmarks, a notebook, pillows, stickers, and some crochet potatoes. And that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I hope you have a good time, because I had fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Bryony Rosemith, live in the Forbidden Library. Good.